Collaborations is all about communication. It's about, as a result of getting communication right, we can grow to the next level. We can create amazing relationships, whether it's personal, business, or whatever it is. And one of the words that is extremely important to me in my life, in my business, is intentionality. Intentionality is a humongous word for me. It's one of the questions on here: what does intentional mean to you? And I would like for each of you to answer this question. What does intentional mean to you, and how has it helped your development in life? That's part one of the question. And in what areas has intentionality made the biggest impact? So the first question: what does intentional mean to you, and how has it helped your development in life? And we'll start with Cornelius.
So I love that word too.
Yeah.
And what it means to me is focus. So in my personal life, I have intentionally set my life. It's pretty much set. Now, don't get me wrong, I allow for free time, but I'm very intentional on everything that I want in my life. Yeah. I write everything down, and I allow free time and free things to happen, but I know what's happening in my life daily, from the time I get up until the time I go to bed.
Wow.
And so when I do that, I get 50% more things done by just simply writing everything down.
Yeah.
But I'm intentional in who I'm around. We've had this conversation. I'm just not around people that don't align with where I believe I'm going.
Yeah.
And so even in that, in the networking with people, I'm just very intentional.
And when it comes to relationships, how could you say that you're intentional? It could be friendships. It doesn't have to be, an intimate relationship.
Going back to what I just said about aligning with people, it's very important, my energy. And if we're talking about energy and you understand energy, you know right away if two people can be in the same space and they're going in the right place. So in my past, I wasn't intentional. And it's like us being in the car together, but we're driving in two different directions, but we're still in the same car. Yeah. So I'm very intentional about my relationships, my friendships, even with my family. Yeah. And I know people don't talk about that, but that's probably the most important.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you already addressed impact. Did you want to add anything more to that? How intentionality has created the biggest impact for you in your life?
Absolutely. It's changed my life because I was doing well on paper, like corporately, I was doing well, but I wasn't happy. When I became intentional, I said, what's important to me, holistically me, and I wrote it down. And now that was 3 years ago. Yeah. All those things are a part of my life right now. Wow. So it's just that simple. Wow. And they keep showing up.
Yeah. Manifestation.
Yes.
How about you, Candace?
So intention is also very, very important to me. Intention, I think of purpose, right? I think of my vision for my life and the life that I want to create. And I know, so it's funny you bring up intention because I actually have this program called Intention to Intimacy because we tend to treat intimacy as something that should just naturally occur. When in fact, it requires effort, right? It very much requires intentional effort in order to build a bond and maintain the bond. The maintenance of the bond is the more important part, right? You can have natural chemistry with someone and that's fantastic, but can you stay together and build a life together for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years down the line? Right. You have to be intentional about the intimacy that you want in your life and you have to prioritize it. Yeah. And I think for myself, how that changed, how building intentionality into my relationship changed my life. It gave me a reason to look deeper into myself and see the places where I felt blockages around intimacy. It gave me a reason to become a more open person and to challenge myself to step up and be a better version of myself by saying, listen, these are the things that I want to have in my intimate relationship, and here's where I'm performing right now as a partner, and I want to intentionally look at some of those places, address them openly with my partner, not stay silent about them, and really schedule time for us to connect and go deeper.
I love that. I mean, all of that sounds impactful. Would you add anything else to how that has impacted your life, or would you say that wraps it?
I mean, for me, it definitely started in relationships, and I think that's where that's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing now, because I've seen the impact that it can have, not just on a relationship, but on life in general. Yeah, absolutely. You know, with the manifestation piece, writing down what my intentions are for the business. I mean, I've got one that I just stated on Facebook the other day. I was like, you know, I've had this dream of being on the TEDx stage and talking about the importance of intimate wellness. And I was like, and I'm going to make it happen. And that's going to happen. And then I had like 40 people like it. So I was like, God, now I really have to make this happen. Accountability. So intentionality also creates that accountability. You start to attract the people that you want around in your life as you begin to become the person that you want to be in your life.
I love it.
Wow, such great answers. You know, the first word that came to mind was discrimination. And I think about that from my perspective. I discriminate a lot in life. I discern where I'll spend my time. I discern, you know, the people that I engage with. Now, in my line of business, I have to engage with everyone, right? Not everyone, but most people. And I have to put aside, you know, the judgments, if you will, of people, because you know, what I need in a relationship or a friend or a girlfriend, boyfriend, they may not line up with that, but that's not my goal. I'm not trying to find them for me. I'm trying to connect people together. But at the same time, I do recognize and I use this business as a platform to educate people about how important relationships are. Relationships can like ruin lives, or they can, you know, vastly benefit lives. And I'm not just talking about love interests, I'm talking about friends, and I'm talking about social circles. It's the reason why we work in that space as well. I know firsthand how the people around you can affect your quality of life, right? And to that point, intentionality is a big part of how I spend time with people, where I spend time with people, and how I move about my life. With regard to my relationship, you know, I say I've been married for 10 years. I can tell you that the first 2-3 years of my marriage were terrible. I mean, and I won't even go down how bad it was, but it was bad, right? I learned a lot from it. Right? I grew a lot from it. Thankfully, my wife has incredible relationship skills to pull us, you know, out of that thing. But it led to a place where I'm very intentional with her also. I don't always get it right. You know, but I'm very intentional about the things that I say to her, do with her, and something. Not to say that nothing comes natural. I love the woman, so a lot of this stuff comes natural. But I've also learned a lot in that process. So. Intentionality for me is most prevalent in relationships with people and the activities that I move about with.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I say one other thing? You just sparked this idea for me. I feel like intentionality is power. I feel like it's agency, right? Yeah. So it's so easy to float around in life and feel like everything is happening to you. Yeah. But when you bring intentionality to your days and you bring intentionality to your life and how you want to live it, that's power, right? You take agency over what you are able to do and you consciously make decisions. Right. And I think that's very powerful.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Because you look like you want to sleep. So just enjoying the conversation. Yeah, and when you have accountability, you're no longer in a victim mindset, you know. And so for me, intentionality is necessary as an entrepreneur and or in relationships. Back to your point of speaking about power, because we have to wake up every morning with that. We have to wake up with intentionality so that we can be accountable to what that purpose is, which gives us power to move throughout our days, and we no longer sit in that state of victimization. Yeah. So it's all cyclical for me.